Steve, episode 36 of the Broadway Block. Second place in the Metropolitan behind the Canes with 77 points. Pens are right at our tail with 77 points. Since our last Broadway Block, we went 3-2, coming off 2 losses and then a 3-game winning streak. We got the Wild tonight, Georgiev in net, trying to do a little better than the last time against the Canucks. What are you looking forward to in the game? And what are you looking forward to most for the rest of the season, Steve?
Well, coming off the back of those 3 wins, man, very excited. Igor's been great. I think tonight you got to look for Georgiev to have a much better performance. He's been shaky lately, but he needs a bounce back win. And I think it's a perfect game to Igor needs a break every once in a while, and he was pretty heavily worked the last game. So totally
Wild's
appropriate.
only 8-10 in their 2-10 or something like that. Ridiculous on losses. Like 8 out of 10 they've lost.
We're also gonna have a stretch of hockey where we're playing basically every other night. So I think it's probably wise to get a stretch now. Yeah, their scoring's been down the Wild lately. Our scoring was down, I feel like, a little bit, but the offense has obviously been clicking as of late, and just enough because Igor's been giving us more than enough room for error. There's so many games, man, that he just really claws us out of what could be pretty terrible. And it's like kind of one of those feelings, just like how Fox was having that really prolific start, which we can get back to maybe that topic later, how Fox really hasn't been, in my opinion, acting like himself. But Igor, I now feel like it's just stolen the conversation away for that guy you got to mention almost every night. He's just been unbelievable. I mean, like, if you look at his record in years past, it's Dominic Hasek, Carey Price, like that years that these guys have won like the Hart Trophy, and he's got better numbers than those guys this year. It's unbelievable. So Igor Shesterkin for me has been really what I think is going to have a huge impact on the rest of the season, because if he keeps playing like this, I mean, literally first place finish, President's Trophy, Stanley Cup, you fucking name it. But that's if Igor is healthy and playing this kind of lights out.
Don't forget Jack Adams Award for Gallant.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot.
How can he not be mentioned there?
Right. There's a lot to be said about, I saw something online today about, like, is this the front office? Is this Coach Gallant? I mean, honestly, he's definitely getting the most out of his lineup because we haven't been healthy, and we've been having really a hodgepodge in the last, week and a half, even month or so of the, injuries in the bottom 6 and just the rotations, calling up guys from
Kevin Rooney was the next victim, went to IR. I guess he's week to week right now, so that's the latest one to bite us. Another thing is, what about Kreider? 2 goals the last game, 53 points, 15 assists.
Yeah, where are we if we don't have all those goals from Kreider? Who's really been the most consistent? And in the years past, the story's always been the inconsistency here of Kreider. You look at the goals he's scoring, man, unbelievable. They're all coming from the same spot. I like that one breakaway goal, that unbelievable stretch pass off the wall.
Pass from Mika right off the boards, right? I was like, if that puck hits that board right, it's just going to go right to Kreider. And I was like,
yeah, and it did. And it was perfect. But it was a very, I think it was a Kreider goal that we are used to seeing, but lately it's been a lot of those tip-ins, power play, deflection type goals. And even the other day, it was not necessarily a tip-in, but where is he's right in the front of the net, turns around, sticks.
The one from Trouba? Was that the one from Trouba?
Yeah, it was a deflected little pass, but here's the thing, in those broken plays, it's all about being in the right spot, sticks on the ice, and when you're hot, and it's just going to go in. So Kreider playing the type of hockey that he's playing is certainly a sight to see, especially when you got guys like Panarin, who is having a sneakily good season on paper, but maybe not necessarily the quite prolific goal scoring.
He's at 61 points already, 15 goals. He's more assists than he usually does that, but another 60-point season for Panarin.
Yeah, but again, I say sneakily good because if you watch the game he's playing, it doesn't quite lend itself to the game that we are used to seeing out of Brett, that unbelievable dynamic. But listen, doesn't have to come from here. It's got to come from somewhere. Let's just be thankful that in lieu of Brett sniping it, we have Chris Kreider to be thankful for.
And Mika's been putting in work. 21 goals, 36 assists, 57 points. Right there, about to hit the 60-point mark too.
Yeah, everybody forgets that we were like boohooing Mika at the start of the season. Do you see what I was saying about Adam Fox? I guess is a good question for you. Maybe since the injury, since the All-Star break, really quite, maybe a
I
9
brought
out
it
of
up.
10.
I brought it up last block that like he came back from injury on that first two games and he was slow. I didn't think he got a point till his third game back. And then he's been doing what he does, like making good passes and stuff, but occasionally he'll have a defensive slip up here or the pass won't go right to where normally it's right on the tape for somebody. I have noticed that.
It's
Not
weird, but some of the points are coming, some of the passes are there. Hopefully we get a little bit of time where he can not be leaned on so heavily. But I think that the decision-making process has probably already begun if you're jury in front office. If you're looking at this trade deadline, Joe, I know you phrased this question in a similar way to me, but what is it that you see our needs in this area at this moment?
Well, I think people are going to get upset at this one, but someone brought it up on Twitter about what about Ryan Strome? Since we're not getting the same kind of production as we normally get, is it such a crucial part to keep Ryan Strome there with the ongoing contract negotiations there? Because it's looking like, right now Kreider's carrying us, Mika's helping out. We know Brett's going to get back to it. He'll get in his rhythm again. I think he still had 3 points in the last 2 games or 3 games. But is Ryan Strome really going to be the answer there? Do you really want to lock him up for more longer time, or do you want to see why his value is still a little higher and trade him? What do you think about that, Steve?
I saw a lot of talk too about JT Miller reunion, and I think the only way that that actually happens is if we move on from a guy like Strome. I feel like you can't necessarily afford to mortgage the future to acquire a guy like that. JT being signed into next season could, or anybody, let's just say the topic of conversation being signed into next season might be a pivotal part of the conversation, which I see more like a Jacob Chutrin, or maybe pronouncing that guy's last name a little bit incorrectly, from Arizona, the defenseman who signed for a contract that's a little bit more into the future. I feel like if you know what you're getting and you're not necessarily mortgaging a heavy prospect and you're getting rid of a guy like Strome to get back perhaps a center position, of course, that can replace his production and then some, hopefully, and a guy that's signed into a cost-controlled contract moving forward. That's what I hope to
JT
see.
did look good against, obviously, with Georgiev, in that it's a little different to fully judge him, but he was like shooting a lot in that game. He wasn't afraid to make the move to the net with the puck. A couple times he had a couple good passes, so he looked like definitely a difference maker for the Canucks in the Canucks game. So it would be it would be a cool reunion.
I put the jersey up for a reason. I think it'd be, here's the thing. I think at this exact moment, he doesn't necessarily have a place to slot into. That's why I say we have to kind of move on from somebody to accommodate somebody like that, because at this moment he doesn't slot into our lineup unless Kako is not coming back soon. And that could be an unknown to us right now, or it could be something that
He had a
that
wrist
we're not.
brace on the last time they saw him, so like who knows what. No one said anything about surgery or anything, but it's been a while.
It's scary. And, at this moment, it doesn't seem like anybody slots in to that top 6 role, but that could change if there's nobody coming back from injury, or like I said, we move on from a guy like Strome to bring in a guy like JT, because that would be pretty dynamic if we had Kako on the right-hand side, you got JT in the middle, and Panarin, or hopefully Strome and Panarin can rekindle their chemistry somehow. I mean, they've been all right, but nothing.
Nothing lights out like we've seen from them before. I agree with that.
So what do you look for tonight, aside from a bounce back performance from Georgiev?
Oh, it's a bounce back game for us. Last time we played the Wild, it wasn't the best outing for us. We ended up losing. What was that? Hank's retirement night.
3-2.
That's how we let our boy out. So I'm hoping that
Yeah.
I know the Wild are jockeying for a position for playoffs over there, so they're going to come out tough. They need a win. They're still figuring out the goalie situation back there with Talbot and Cax. So I'm looking for a strong, we need to come out with a strong performance, shut some of their team down, make sure we don't get any like beat on the power play. We've been good all year on the power play, stopping the power play. I felt like, but I'm really looking for Rangers to beat up on a team that like needs to be pushed out of the playoffs, you know? This is where we separate ourselves from like teams like that, and we need to show it tonight. And Gagorgiev needs a bounce back win. He's got to get in the mix. We need him, unless we're going to trade him. But we need Gagorgiev to be ready for if something happens to Igor.
Well, I feel like yes, we could be moving on from Georgiev. That's another conversation. I feel like perhaps we missed the window of value where it was a little bit higher, but hopefully we have someone, maybe a better option than Kincaid coming back, as our backup. But I think as far as tonight, our last game, I felt like we had a big boy performance, even though there was moments where the ice was tilted and we weren't necessarily
we were outshot that game.
Very resilient. I mean, the shots were a little bit deceiving, as none of them were, super, super high quality. There were moments where Igor was
good
fantastic.
Quality, like not high quality. I agree.
There was
but would we have lost that game if Gagorgiev was in?
Maybe. I mean, I thought the same thing about the Devils game, honestly. With some of those saves were unbelievable, and if we let guys just kind of walk in and split the defense like that, it is kind of spooky. But I think for those are the same reasons why we have a chance against anybody, because we have the ability to do the same thing, and we have the confidence knowing that there's a guy behind us that we have, full trust in, that can bail us out of a lot of scary situations. So, my vote is Team Igor making us to a long, long push. And if it's not Igor, geez, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to us, but.
Well, we will see. Steve, I think that's all the time we have here for today for episode 36. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Are nasty, right? The Rangers are nasty. All right. Thanks, Steve.
Take care, brother.